Welcome. My name is Kat. This is my Flosstube channel, Kat Can Sew, and this is episode 2. This is my channel where I talk about my stitching and get to show off what I'm working on. Thank you to everybody who has come back. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and welcome to anybody who's joining me for the first time. This is going to be a little shorter than the last one. Still a little longer than I like, but still shorter than the last one. Before I get going, a couple of shout outs to Liz from Stitch by Liz and Chloe from Miss Chloe SW, who both shared my video on Instagram, on their Instagram stories, as well as Liz mentioning it during her video. I'm back. I've got a bunch I stitched this week, and a couple of little other things I'm going to discuss as well, as well as a little bit of stash and some things that I picked up over the last couple of weeks. So I showed this with my parents yesterday, and they watched it yesterday, and they had 2 comments. One was I didn't mention the koalas when I mentioned the kangaroos, because they also get koalas in their yard. They are in an area that used to be a really large population of healthy koalas. Koalas have a problem that goes through there that I'm not discussing on YouTube. So go listen to what koalas sound like if you haven't before. That'll freak you out. And he asked what a couple of the terms were. So, to start up, I'm going to create a new segment. It's called Stitching Term of the Week. This is just a chance for me to talk about stuff. So for this week, my stitching term of the week is UFO. That's the one that came up with Dad. He's also into space and stuff like that. So UFOs for him are unidentified flying object. For us, it's an unfinished object. These are the projects that, for whatever reason, are not going to get finished. Don't like the chart anymore. Don't like what you were stitching it on. The floss is just terrible. We all have those reasons. And to be honest, life's too short to work on what you don't love. Unless you're doing it for somebody else, that becomes a grey area. But if you're just doing it for you, work on what you love. Work on what you enjoy. And get those finishes. When I'm saying finishes, for me, I don't fully finish projects. Or FFO. We'll discuss that one in a couple of weeks. I have a suit bag in the back of my wardrobe with most of my finishes. I have had a few that I have given to friends. I did some birth records for a couple of girls I went to high school with, as well as my niece and nephew. I have done a couple of projects for weddings and things like that. So I've got a few projects that have gone on to people, but most of my projects back my wardrobe, with the exception of all the Mill Hill kits, which are on my coffee table. I'm a process stitcher. I get the enjoyment out of the process of doing this, which is kind of scary when you think about how much money I've spent, because I've got beaded projects. I've got a silk project that's 100% done in silk. But I do eventually want to frame them and put them on display. I just don't have the space right now. So in the suit bag they stay. Otherwise, not much is happening around here at the moment. Been a pretty quiet week. I did a lot of stitching. I'm currently not at work due to a minor injury, but it's enough that I'm walking and carrying things. Not a good idea. Sitting and stitching, as long as I get up every so often, is good. Which is good, because this is version 4 of this video, guys, because technical issues. So I have a list of what I worked on with how many stitches I did and what the new percentage is. I'm going to try and keep this short. Still going to probably end up at about 25 to 30 minutes. So my first project is in the Timeout bag by Live and Die LA. The project is Autumn Lanes to All a Good Night. I'm kind of looking around so I make sure that it's on screen. This is where I was, and this is where I am now. This was in the Black Needle Society box from Nice Box from last Christmas. I did this section here. I only did just over 100 stitches, so not very much at all, but every stitch counts. And I have now kitted this project. I should have enough of every color on here. How pretty is that palette? So many pretty shades of blue. These will get moved onto a separate ring, and then the rest of this will go to another project, as I do have a couple of projects I'm trying to kit. And I'm going to start the next week or so. Needle minders are Adam Hart, which is where the plus drops are from, and Stacey Stitches. Next up, we have Sugar and Spice and Everything Nice by Artist Designs. So this is where I was, and this is where I'm up to now. I got over 1,000 stitches done on this. I got 1,030. I did frog about 200 stitches, so but that's where I'm at. I'm at 80%, 81%, so I'm nearly done. I have some backstitch to do on the 2 snowmen. All the writing is done. I had to frog the ampersand, the parts of thing I had, and the V and the E because they were in the wrong spot, and I didn't have enough space to fudge it. And then I've just got a little bit left of the I guess the village down the bottom. The 2 gingerbread houses. There's another one of these pink and white candies, and then there's 2 rows of 3865 that go across the bottom. This is stitched on powder pink splash. It's got those white dots. And again, was in the nice list from Black Needle Society last year, along with the Bitsy Keep, which is the Nutcracker. This is in a Stitch and Button bag from the Stitch and Button Advent bag last year. Next up, we have Sea Turtle by Pineco McGee. Here is what it's going to look like. I have changed it out. I'm doing it in black. Here's where I was, and here's where I am now. So I got 775 stitches on this. This is stitched on a 28 count Smack the Jellyfish Lagana. I did all of this section down here. Needle minders are Ginger Stitch AU. This one I've had for a while. I just haven't put it on anything, and I figured go through the Sea Turtle. It's in also a Stitch and Button bag, along with the floss for Seahorse, which is my next project. So this is Seahorse by Heaven Earth Designs, and here's where I was, and here's where I'm up to. So I did a bit of this coral, some work down here. I need to do more of the coral. I added another needle minder on here. This is another Kim's Creative. It's one of the cute little resin gummy bears, and then the mermaid. This is stitched on 16 count Smack the Jellyfish. Both of these are Live and Die LA fabrics. I got 175 stitches on that this morning. Sorry, 145 stitches on that this morning. I'm in a Facebook group that needs me to count stitches, and we needed a little bit of stitching done this morning, so I was one of the ones I had out, so I grabbed it. Next up is Vintage Sewing Set, which I didn't put on the ground, which is by Tiny Mondness, which is this one here. And this is where I was. And this is where I'm at. I got a lot done on this. I got 661 stitches on this. I'm just under halfway. I still have to do all the back stitch on this half. But I got all of the medium purple in, so I'm really happy with the way that's turning out. It's much more my aesthetic than the red is. This is stitched on Thin Ice by Live and Die LA, 28 count Lagana. Needle Minder is by Thread Wine on Etsy. This also has a scissor fob that I have planned out the space for. My finishing this project is going to be finishing both of those. I'm nearly at the halfway on this half. When I get to the halfway of the crosses, I'll go through, do the back stitch, and then I'll do the other side just because it's a little bit easier. And I want to see what the back stitches look like. I do need to put more floss on here. I do not have enough of any of my purples, and I am missing the floss I need for the back stitch, so that'll probably get updated today. At this point, probably tomorrow, because it's taking me longer to do this than I was planning. And next up is Red Lady Pirate by Mirabilia. There she is. So this, just because this did come up in discussion, in questions, she's been around since about 2011. She is slightly unusual for Mirabilia's, as she does have a lot of background on her. In saying that, my silk is more grey than this sample stitcher was, so my background is a lot more grey. I got 1,139 stitches on this, mostly just across this row here. I basically did the entire row. I think I may have had a little bit done over here, but not much. So yeah, I've now finished all of the water lilies. So they were all of this blue-grey section through here, and a little bit of at the mountain there as well. That was all the silks. I'm 60% done. I think I still got about, the math is on my phone, which I'm currently recording with. But there is over 1,000 stitches, which are beads and whisper. And there is a hole here where it has to be whisper, and that's where I have back stitching to go in as well. There's also back stitching right up to the whisper in the shoulder here. So I was going to go through and do all the back stitch. I've done some of the back stitch at the top, but I think that's all going to wait until I do the whisper, because I'm trying to do back stitch over the whisper and I can't do it the other way around. This is Tropic Waters by Live and Die LA. Adam Hunt Adam Hart and Kim's Creative Needle Minders. This is currently in a Ragtag Quilt Company bag, but that's going to change. I purchased new bags. We'll see that when I get to stash. And then this bag's going to be used for summertime because it's got cherries and stuff in it. It just has a bit more of a summer vibe for me. And saying that, I caught the vinyl. I think I did that today. Last up is a bit of an adventure. Last up is Frogwarts. This did come up as a question in my comments. I'm going to do a bit of a quick overview on it. Frogwarts is a virtual stitching retreat by Black Needle Society. It's done in mid-July. It's based on Harry Potter. It's competitive stitching. You don't have to do the competitive stitching. I'm just going to because it's fun. We do stitching challenges to, like, you have a prompt. You have to if you stitch on that project, you get points. If you don't match that prompt, then you get half as many points. We have games. There's lives, chat rooms. It goes from Wednesday night till Sunday afternoon. It does for me anyway, because I'm a couple of hours ahead of or behind Katie and Laura, who are Black Needle Society. They are in Central Time and I am in Pacific. So I have to get up early. The first challenges start at like 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but it's only for 4 days, so that's fine. So this is we're up to year 4, which is Goblet of Fire. My first year was year 3, which was Prisoner of Azkaban. So I'm a little behind on my projects because I haven't done the first 2 years yet. But I made a ton of progress on this. So this is the one I was doing last year. So this is the one I have mostly started, which is the Frogwarts Year 3 Band Sampler by Katie, Catherine Landis. And this is where I'm at. Oh, this is where I was. This is where I am. Anything I didn't say, there's still going to be pictures put in. I'll make it work. I did a lot on this. It says I did 567 stitches, but I also did about 400 half stitches in the cup, and I removed 849 of the band across the bottom. So let's get it in the frame. So I added half stitches of gold to all of the white on the cup. It was blending in with the fabric. Where now it's sort of popping. It was popping better when I had daylight. But yeah, you can sort of see that that's where the cup is now, instead of it just all blending in. I finished the Patronus. I added the last two sets of footprints. I finished the werewolf because I was missing the nose. Poor Remus had no nose. And I finished the Dementor. And I did a little bit more on Book of Monsters. And then, as I said, I removed the orange that I had on the band. I was doing it 2 strands of DMC, 2 strands of blending filament. It was too thick. It was shredding. It was a nightmare, and I wasn't loving it. So I'm like, so pretty. I want to keep doing it. I'm like, you know what? I have to do this for 7 years. Let's not. So I spent a couple of hours late last week frogging all of that. and I'm going to stitch it in the oak dye, the same as what I've done for most of the rest of the stuff. I'm still doing the spells with the one strand of blending filament. I also did the so far away. I also did the Patronus with one strand of blending filament, and then I did some of it with E12, so the time turner's done in E12. So it's still got some sparkly. It's just not going to be the insane sparkly that I was dealing with. My aim is to have this done by down to about, I've got to double check the numbers. I think it's about 1,000 stitches I need for the prompts during the retreat. I also started, because this came up on my wheel, Frogwarts Year 2 band sampler. I started, let's bring it up. I started the burrow. It's 421 stitches, and that's all I have. It's a lot. I'm actually going to start Year 1 tonight, because that's what came up on the random wheel generator. So here is the pattern for Frogwarts Year 1. So I'm going to start on Wingardium Leviosa. So let's start with the metallic. I also, you can kind of see it, did my 10 by 10 outline. That's the bottom edge of Year 4. So when we get the pattern and can start for the challenge at the start of February, I'm ready to go. Last year during that, we do a video chat. During that chat, I was actually trying to do my borders, so I didn't get any stitching done during that chat, and there's people that got several hundred stitches done. So hopefully this year I'm slightly better off progress wise. I don't know whether I can do it. It is 12,000 stitches to try and do in 2 weeks. It means I'm trying to do about 900 stitches a day. And it's the only thing I can work on. But it's going to be the only thing I'm working on for up until the start of the retreat anyway. I'm trying to get everything else done before then. In saying that, my plans for this week is to keep using my random wheel generator to give me my project of the day, basically. That's why I've been working on so many different projects. Basically, once I get down to about 400 stitches, I'm going to stop working on projects, which is why my January knot from ink circles isn't being worked on, because I've only got 400 stitches. I have 2 other projects on that wheel, which is Summertime and Hubble. They just didn't come up this week. And the Wonders of the Hubble telescope. But part 5 of Wonders of the Hubble telescope came out, and it's really pretty. It's the Whirlpool Galaxy, and I really want to get up to that. So I'm really close to finishing part 2. Sorry if I can get another 400 or 500 stitches in that, and then after Frogwarts, really get in. And I probably won't get up to date on the next part, but I might by the final part, by part 7. Which is by the time part 7 comes out, which will be our last of the big ones. So that is all my stitching goodness. So I have some haul. I had this floss, but I'm trying 4 patterns. I'm at about 12,000 stitches each. So I needed more. So I did a spreadsheet, worked out how much I need, how many stitches of each color there were, and worked out how much I needed. I overestimated. I ran it about 200 stitches per yard, and I averaged at about 250, 300. Probably about 250. It's about 80 stitches per 2 lengths. Yeah, so somewhere about 250. But 200's much easier number to work with. 80 to 90 stitches. So this is all the rest of the floss. It will get put onto my carabiners, which will actually go onto her rings. I've separated them into company and then in alphabetical order. They used to be in the order on the pattern. I've just done them alphabetical. It's easier to just go, oh, I'm looking for this pattern, this brand, this color, this brand. This is missing Grape Arbor. I have that ordered. 123 Stitch was out of it, and honestly, it was a bit of a challenge to find it, but somebody on the group gave me a direction, and that store had some, and I got 3/5 of what they had left. So hopefully that color comes back into stock, because I'm sure other people are still looking for it as well. This is my favorite. This is Deep Sea by Gentle Art. Yeah, Gentle Art. Pretty blue teal color. So this is Fallen Leaves is also stunning. That's a reddy orangey color. Actually, they're all pretty cool. But they're my favorites. In doing the order from 123 Stitch, I also ordered Mirabilia's Royal Games. One of the prompts for during Frogwarts is with a mask, and the Spades there has a mask. I will probably stitch this to a point where I have a large section of the single color, and then this will go, once it's done, it will go on the back burner until I have finished Red Lady Pirate. I'm planning on doing both of these on the same fabric, which is French Vanilla Mistake. I'm actually planning on doing them on the same fabric. They will both fit onto a fat quarter, and I'm going to do them next to each other with about 2 inches between, with the intention of when I frame them, I can mat them together or put them into a single frame. The plank hook. It's the 4 suits. It's fine. I ordered these from Stitching Goddess Designs. These were the Frogwarts limited releases for this year. Something stitchy this way comes. And the only frogs I like are chocolate. Which reminds me, I actually need to do some testing of my peppermint toads and fizzing Whizbees. I have the chocolate malts. I have the flavorings. Looking forward to making those. And not quite. And then I got two new project bags. I got the seahorse one, which has a blue watery kind of vibe lining. This one actually was part of it. It was like a set which came with the pattern, Every Passing Ship. This was from Stitch Toolbox. And the needle minder. Red Lady Pirate's probably going to go in here. And then, yeah. And then second one I got was, I mentioned the koalas. I got the koala one. I do not know why it has cotton plants on here, but it has koalas. I'm pretty sure they're cotton plants. So, and it has like a leafy lining. I've actually got so the reason I brought this is there's a bunch of koala projects I want to work on. So this has actually got my pattern for the first one. This is from a magazine, the series of 4 koala cards. And then I have a couple of koala biscornies I want to do. I'm going to see how much I can get out of this fabric, which is Evergreen Dew, Liverdale, 28 Kalangana. It's a really pretty piece. The koala cards are only like 60 stitches square, so I should be able to get all 4 of those on less than an eighth. And then I have the other 8 to try and do at least one of the biscornies. The other one I may do on a slightly darker fabric. And last but not least, I am doing my first big retreat. I have done the Southern California Stitches retreat. I did Temecula and Big Bear. Temecula last year, Big Bear this year. And I'm doing the Black Needle Society camp. I've watched all the StitchCon, both prep and after, and just getting hints from people who do bigger events. So I ordered myself a dice tray. It's got a gorgeous purple suede fabric. Sorry, I'm going to do the snaps. I got the hexagon because it's slightly bigger than the squares. And I can put my tools in there and try and keep my stitchy space organized. I also got a personal neck fan. It is a little louder than I like. But even if I can just use it for part of the time, hopefully, one of the things I've heard is the stitching room is quite warm, and it also fits inside my dice tray that we just ordered off Amazon. I also bought a bunch of 2-inch rings. I've got projects I need those for. Sorry about the crinkles. But yeah, that's where I am. I'm going to try and post this evening. I've ended up about 35 minutes, and that's basically where I've been all day, so it's not going to get much shorter. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all the YouTubey thingies, and I'll see you next week. Have a good day.